Good evening and welcome to the least professional show on the internet. This is Toxic Masculinity with me, your host, Mr. Reagan, and my good friend, Jason T. Labrada. Jason, say hello to the good people.
Hello, good people.
Jason, should we play the new anthem of 2024?
Let's do it.
All right, one moment. I'm unprepared because I'm unprofessional. That's how being unprofessional works, ladies and gentlemen. Present, share screen. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
I'm loving that. I'm loving that. We're gonna have to get Tom Cruise in a fat suit dancing to this.
Yeah.
That's a reference to the film Tropic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. This is a film that I mentioned to Sebastian Gorka today, and he said, "Chris, we have very different tastes in movies."
Well,
I'm like, Tropic Thunder is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that was Tom Cruise's greatest acting moment in history.
It might be. I mean, apparently it was his idea to do the fat suit and everything. Yeah. I actually remember watching that in a theater, and I don't remember who I was with, some girl, and I turned to this girl and I go, "That's Tom Cruise." And she's like, "No, it isn't." That is Tom Cruise. And then I think I said it loud enough so that somebody else heard me, and then I heard somebody else go, "Oh, that's Tom Cruise." And then somebody else, "That's Tom Cruise." It started going through the audience. Yeah, it was a real moment.
That's how it was when we watched it. I watched it with my wife when it came out on streaming, and I was like, "That's Tom Cruise." Wait a minute, and she was like, "What? No." I was amazed. I was shocked. I was like, but I thought that was like so cool of him to like do a role like that, and I think it's one of his greatest roles.
Yeah, I mean, when he first came on screen, I thought it was a fat guy. I had no idea.
Yeah,
it wasn't until he started moving around.
Yep, and like, talking when he started talking, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he's got very distinctive mannerisms.
The thing I love about it is he's just making fun of himself, of Hollywood, or everything pretty much, and I thought that was just genius.
Well, so look, we're going to play this at the end of the show as well. But how great is this? What do you call it? I don't know. What do you call it? Viral TikTok dance thing?
I don't know. I don't know if they think it's like. Go ahead, play it.
Mocking Trump? Yeah.
I don't know if they think it's mocking Trump, but it's actually
eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Okay,
it's actually doing the opposite.
And then you started talking anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't know if they think it's mocking him or it's negative on him, but I think it's the opposite. It's doing the complete opposite, like always.
No, yeah, I think that this is helping Trump. I think this is fantastic. It's catchy. I don't know who made this, but I absolutely love it. I can't get enough of this. I found a longer version, but I couldn't find it before the show. But
they're eating.
It's better to watch this chick anyway.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
This is. I mean, honestly, like this is. It gets in your head.
Yeah.
It's sort of like. Did you ever see that one where he was the one about China?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah,
that was also a banger. They need to. Eventually, they're gonna have so many like Trump songs. They're just gonna be able to do this at like dance clubs. Just have all Trump songs.
Somebody writes, this is a good one. Somebody writes, it's catchy.
It is catchy. That is true. Yeah, well done, Brett Black. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I guess that's the only comment I wanted to make is that it's funny, it's fun. when I saw the debate, I think I actually tweeted it out. I said something like on X. I said, so far this is the line of the night, right? I'm like, whoa, because I think I yelled out loud, yes, because I knew that it was going to be something that was going to be picked up, and it's a little disappointing that it's like something that is a distraction from what I would consider to be the more substantial points that Trump made. But at the end of the day, if you're going to have a viral moment, you might as well have it about you and not your opponent, right? So you're always going to have people who focus on the substantive stuff and the stuff that I think is more important, and then you're going to have people that focus on the silly stuff. And so, to me, I thought this was a good thing that was a little bit silly because, like, this is a news thing that I think probably a lot of people didn't hear, and. Oh my God. Karen Lyle writes, toxic Masculinity.
I saw that too.
Anyway. I'm waiting for super chats, guys.
Chris, you're being distracted by the chats. Stop looking at the chats.
I am. Well, normally I have the chat off, but I can't switch to the super chat. I technically cannot switch to the super chats until there is a super chat. So that's why I'm complaining. But anyway, send us money so I'm not distracted, people. They're never going to send me money now. But yeah, I mean, I was like thrilled because I thought, okay, this is great because Trump has created a viral moment here. And, so for those that will be distracted by something about the debate, something silly, they'll be distracted by this. And that's a good thing because it's real news. It's something that's really going on. So I knew immediately everything that was going to happen. Like, as soon as I heard him say that, I knew immediately everything was going to happen. I knew they were going to say Trump's crazy. Trump's a racist. Trump's saying stuff that's like conspiracy theories. And all that. I knew they were going to say that. But I also knew that some people were going to go, I'm sorry, what? Mm-hmm. And then they were going to start looking it up. Exactly. And they were going to start going, holy crap, they're eating the kids.
Yep.
They're eating the pets.
Yeah, that's one thing that I took out of that debate. Like later on, I was like, Trump actually won the debate because of that, because of all those fact checking. Because it went one way. So I think people really saw that, and they saw how the like even people that didn't quite get it yet, they saw the media bias in that moment, and it's funny because they don't realize like. Now it's not just legacy media out there. Now people could go and fact check things for themselves, So this actually, people probably went out looking to see if this is true, and they probably realized, wait a minute, They are eating freaking people's pets.
Exactly, and you know what? I've actually been really surprised, even beyond what you're saying, which is totally legitimate, like totally accurate. What you just said, beyond the cat, dog, pet eating thing. I've been actually surprised because you and I, after the debate, you and I were kind of talking about like, will people understand what's happened here? Because I'm like, we study this stuff, kind of like for the live stream, for my job. I study politics all the time. And like, what's funny is Trump came out immediately after the debate and was like, they go, are you going to do another debate? And he goes, I don't know, maybe. Why would I do another debate? I kicked her butt. Like, I won. And if you follow politics, Trump won. Even if you were on the left, Trump won the debate. But the question is, and I said this at the time, I said, the question is, did she do well enough that the left-wing media can spin it to say she won? And I think she did well enough that the left-wing media will say that she won. And that's exactly what's happened, right? So over the last, day or two, everybody's like, oh, Kamala Harris won. Kamala Harris won. And it's like, no, she didn't. But of course they're going to say that because they want you to believe that Kamala Harris won, and she didn't completely dissolve. Like, Trump didn't obliterate her, so it's you can convince people. But I wasn't sure that people were going to be savvy enough to cop on to the fact that Trump actually won. And what we're seeing from the polling is that a lot of people did figure this out. especially independent voters, moderate voters.
Yes.
They watched this and they went, wait a minute. You know, Kamala Harris really was completely free of substance, all this kind of stuff. All right, MMA Fix jumped in here. Thank you so much, MMA Fix. Wrote, just to get you started, thank you for allowing me to get rid of the chat, because it doesn't even come up as an option for me to just have super chats up unless there's a super chat. So I have to have the chat on screen, or I guess I don't have to have it, but
the super chats are online.
The super chats are up. Thank you very much, MMA Fix. Rick Humphrey jumped in. Thank you, Rick Humphrey. He's $5. He says, Trump won the debate. Kamala was off topic and rambling. Losers want another debate. Well, that's exactly what Trump said, Rick. I love that he brought that up, because that was going to be my next point. Losers want another debate. That's what Trump said. As soon as he goes, when a boxer loses a boxing match, what do they say? They say, I want a rematch. So he says, that's what Kamala's saying right now. I'm not even sure that's actually a correct interpretation. I think the Kamala Harris team, they must have thought, we didn't get our kill shot in for whatever reason. Maybe Kamala forgot or something. They're like, so we still have some ammunition left. Let's go back after him. Yeah. And I think they got too confident and too cocky, because Kamala Harris did not win that debate. I mean, if you know anything about debating, if you know anything about the facts, if you know anything about politics, you know she didn't win on what I think is important, but she won on a curve. That is, she didn't look like a fool.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, that's what it comes down to. She didn't sound stupid. She didn't cackle, so she made it through. She made it through. Yeah. And I think they thought they won. And I think that's why they won a second debate, because, like you said, they want to really like finalize it. And I think what they're going to try to focus on is more lies with, like, this time I think they'll focus on trying to get some economic plans out there so people hear, because I think that was the one issue that all the moderates and everybody was complaining about this debate, was the whole she has no plan. She didn't say a plan. All she did was attack Trump's character. Like, they're not voting for the person, they're voting for what they're going to do when they're president. And she didn't clarify that, or she didn't have a plan or anything like that. That's why I said, like, Trump should have just turned to her and said, what's your plan? What's your policy? Right. And he would have got it right there. But
I'm just curious what you guys think about this in the chat. You guys can, it doesn't have to be a super chat. Jason will obviously read it if it's not. But I was talking to a guy yesterday, and maybe I shouldn't mention this on the air because maybe Kamala Harris's people will watch this and get the idea. But I was talking to this guy yesterday here, and I just met him. He's just like, and he goes, you know what Trump should have said? He should have kept saying over and over again, Kamala, you are Joe Biden. Okay, you are a total continuation of Joe Biden's policies. Okay. And then throughout the debate, just keep turning to her every time she says something and go and says, look, you are Joe Biden. All right. I don't care. Everybody, you need to know Kamala Harris is Joe Biden. And if she kept saying that throughout the debate, Kamala Harris would always be on the defensive. So no matter what he would say, even if he was on the defensive, my crowd sizes are enormous, but you're still Joe Biden, right?
Yeah.
If he had kept doing that, she would have felt like she was on the defensive the whole time. And I'm like, that's actually kind of genius. So I'm going to try to get that message to Trump for the next debate. If he can just throw in, but you're still Joe Biden, right? If you can just keep saying you're Joe Biden, I actually think that's a smart strategy. I don't know what you guys think about that. It's like a little bit of a cheap tactic in a way, but maybe it's the tactic that he needs to use in order to like obliterate her. Really, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, there was a great moment in the debate that I actually forgot about, but it was the moment when he was telling her, "Let's leave this debate. Let's go to Washington, and you can do it right now. Like you can stop the
yes."
I was like, wow, that when he was saying that, I remember even saying during that part, like, yeah, that's right, Trump. Tell her.
Yeah, because it was a great line. It was a great line.
Because he was saying you can do something right now. We don't have to go through Congress. We don't have to do any of that crap,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but at the end of the day, what do we all remember now?
The cats.
They're eating the dogs.
Pets.
They're eating the
Pets.
cats. They're eating our pets. Let's listen to it one more time, ladies and gentlemen, because you know what? It's just that good. And this chick's pretty cute. So wait, hold on. I gotta hit the play button.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep playing that throughout the show because it's amazing. All right, should we get to our first story?
Yep.
Should we actually talk about the news? I mean, I guess that was our first story technically, but I mean, it's what I titled the episode. So
I kind of want to talk about the earring controversy, but I don't know if.
Did you not put that up?
I think
Is that not one of the stories?
Okay, oh yeah. Okay. No, we got it. Yeah. No, I sent that to you actually, to your personal.
Oh, you sent it to me. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me. And then I actually sent you a picture. I think, right? Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Okay, I've got it. But I actually did a side-by-side. You guys aren't going to like this because I essentially debunked this.
I got a bigger point to that whole earring thing.
All right, here's the earring thing. Interesting choice of earrings tonight, Kamala Harris. And then they're showing, I use these new smart earrings to listen to music. They're totally surprised me. Blah, 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 blah.
You know, Gorka's going to hate me, but I definitely think you had a mic in her ear. And I think it was where she had her hair covering, because for some reason she kept looking down, like, you know, like when you're listening to somebody in an earpiece.
It wouldn't be a mic. It would be an earpiece. Yeah. But no, look, the earring that they're showing here in the picture, I think this is photoshopped, because what that girl's wearing in the picture is not the Nova H1 audio earring. I looked them up.
Yeah.
I looked up these earrings. Let me go ahead and try to find the picture.
I have a bigger thing with the earring thing that people don't seem to actually realize. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
So let's say it's not whatchamacallit, Mike. No.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's say it's not something that she could hear people talk to her. Let's look at the earring. Okay. What was she saying the whole night during the debate? That she comes from what? Right? She working family.
Working class.
Right? Yeah. Working class people and all that stuff, right? So what are the earrings? Actually, Tiffany, right? They're Tiffany.
Oh, are they? Earrings. Are they Tiffany earrings?
Yes. And those earrings specific, I see they're like over $800. Okay. Now the matching necklace that she has worn before, she's worn the necklace that matches that's over like $10,000. That necklace.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So everybody's missing the point here. She's trying to act like she's middle class or whatever, or working class. She's not. You know, like she's an elitist. She's wearing all that expensive jewelry like that, and you know, that's what I get out of it.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. I love that point. Hell Radio Lives jumps in. He says, Decoy Voice had an interesting point that every time Kamala looked concerned or off to the left, the moderators jumped in. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Wow, that's fascinating. So maybe they had some kind of like code or something like that.
Of course, yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
I think in that same video, I don't know if it was in that same video, because I think I watched it. I think Kamala's best friend is like the president of ABC or something like that.
Yeah, ABC TV, I think. Yeah. No. Yeah, that was true. Like people knew that even before. Excuse me, even before the debate started, and we all knew that it was going to be biased, but it was worse than we thought. So here's the side by side. So I found the earrings. I found the advertising for the earrings. So the girl on the right is wearing the audio earrings that are being suggested as what Kamala was wearing. And then I got a close up of a photograph of Kamala Harris at the debate, right? You know, on the debate stage. And as you can see, the earrings that Kamala Harris are wearing are not the headphone earrings, earbud earrings that are being advertised, right? And the company came out with a statement, I think, trying to capitalize on this, right? And they said, those earrings she was wearing are very similar to the ones that were, do bear a striking resemblance to the ones that we're selling. And it was obviously like a brilliant marketing ploy by this company, because they're like, oh, we could sell a bunch of these. Let's do this. Right. So they really jumped on that bandwagon. But they know it's not their earrings. They looked into it. They figured it out. It's not theirs. And so they didn't say, these are our earrings. They've said,
that picture, man, look at her lizard neck. Oh, take that down, please.
All right, here, hold on. So Gorka has posted a tweet about this. He says, on Kamala's earpiece, anyone who posts about this is either a cretin who doesn't get politics or a whore. He's written. I am a clickbait whore, by the way, but I don't post lies typically. And he says, even if it were true, which I doubt, given that she didn't pause to listen to instructions, it is utterly and completely irrelevant. No one will choose a candidate on election day based upon whether or not they had an earpiece in their ear during a debate. My suggestion, unfollow anyone spreading this diversionary garbage. Instead, go do something by volunteering at TrumpForce47.com. That's TrumpForce, the number 47.com. And I totally agree with that. And then he's texted me here and he says, that is the bottom line. And here's the thing about that.
Of course.
Here's the thing about text and tweet. I didn't talk to Gorka about this. We kind of both came to the same conclusion. I was very skeptical of it, and I thought it was a silly story. And I don't understand why people are jumping on this, because I mean, she may have had an earpiece. She probably had an earpiece. I don't know. But I don't like that people are spreading this particular story, because as I'm showing you here, it's not the same earring.
Well,
this is a very easily debunked.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like, you think they can't make an earring for her? I mean, come on. But this is a Democrat strategy. Definitely, they probably put this out, make it a big conspiracy theory, and they could use it against the Trump campaign and all that.
Look, we got to be very careful, because a lot of independent voters who are on the fence, they're very skittish, right? And anytime they get a whiff of anything that is like potentially like a something that, conspiracy theory, like a false conspiracy theory from Republicans, they buy into the narrative that the left puts out that we're a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists, and they don't want to be associated with that. The irony, of course, is that the left lies constantly, and it's not just the crazy conspiracy theorists. It's like the mainstream media lying.
But the left
they
is
get a
full
pass.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm trying to make. Thank you for interrupting to try to make my point for me.
Hey, anytime.
But the left, even the mainstream media will say things that are not true, and they get a pass, I think, because they lie so much. And on the right, though, we have to be very careful, because we tell the truth. So when we lie, it's a much bigger deal. Or not lie, but like when we're wrong, I think it's a much bigger deal.
It's funny because
some people are.
Yeah, they are the biggest conspiracy theories. They're constantly saying Trump wasn't an attempted assassination on him, that he wasn't hit with a bullet, this and that. I mean, that's like a huge conspiracy theory right there,
bro. You know what's crazy about that? Okay, I don't think I've really read a lot of, like, say, posts on X from normal everyday Democrat voters saying, Trump set this up so that he would get. I've not really heard a lot of Democrat voters. I've not read a lot of Democrat voters writing that or talking about that. I'm sure there are some, but for the most part, it's just like a few very, very crazy leftists in the news media, like trying to promote this idea that, because if you watch the footage, and I think probably almost every American has watched the footage, you know that it's real. Yeah. You know that was a real assassination attempt. There's no question.
But the
only question is who set it up. That's the real conspiracy theory.
But no, I get it on my X feed all the time, and when I'm talking with these crazies, I always see it.
So you're talking about regular Democrat voters?
Yeah.
I haven't heard any regular Democrat voters saying it. Just like a few loonies, like influencers, people in the media, stuff like that, who are, I think, very irresponsibly spreading this rumor that's obviously BS. But who I do hear it from constantly are foreigners. because I'm out here in Southeast Asia and I meet foreigners all the time. I meet people from Europe. I meet Russians. I meet, people from all over the world. And it's the foreigners, especially Europeans, and they're constantly asking me every single one. Once they find out what I do for a job, they go, "Hey, do you think the assassination attempt on Donald Trump was real?" And I'm like, "Oh my, again? And these are not even necessarily people who don't like Trump. These are just people who they heard this rumor and they're like, "Oh, I don't trust anything anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, you don't trust anything, but what has Trump done like this ever?" This is not Trump is not Jussie Smollett. He doesn't do this kind of thing.
I'm over it with Europeans, man. They're letting their country go away. Like they're idiots, man.
Yeah, it's true. But the fact that they believe this is so. The reality is, guys, I don't know if you've been to Europe or you've traveled much out there. I mean, from what I've read, most Americans at some point do travel somewhere. But like I've traveled quite a bit, and I can tell you, like a lot, because I thought most Americans never leave the country. I read that somewhere once, but I guess that's changed, and most Americans do leave at some point. But I don't think we pay enough attention to other cultures. I don't think we travel enough in America. I think we should travel more. But I've traveled quite a bit in my life, and I can tell you, I've watched the news in the Netherlands. I've watched the news of course, in like Britain. I've watched the news in Germany. I've watched the news in Bulgaria. I've watched the news in like these weird places. And I can tell you that the American news that they get is some of the most biased news I've ever heard. Like all over the world. French news. I watch French news. I watch German news.
It's all propaganda.
It's all stuff they get from CNN. It's all stuff they get from the New York Times, and it's all the same stuff that we get if you watch CNN in America or you watch MSNBC. It's the same stuff. And so I'm sitting there watching this stuff going, whoa, the international American news is terrible. Like people around the world have no idea what's going on in the United States because all they get is the propaganda.
Yeah, you're right. Americans don't realize how much the left has a control of the news and media outside of the United States. It's crazy, man. It's even in the DR, like Dominican Republic, same thing. They have such a hold on international like info. It's wild. It's wild. Yeah, you're so 100%
if you talk
correct.
to anybody internationally, if you talk to anybody out here outside the US, they will always bring up these talking points that you're like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Like you believe that? I mean, is that really what you've heard? And they're like, oh, that's what they say on the news, and you just gotta go, okay, all right, let me explain why that's completely wrong, And people kind of get mad at me. I got to be careful because I think probably the last 3 or 4 times that I've heard somebody ask this question, I've gone like this. And I always say, and they always get upset. Like, why do you think that's? I go, oh my, you're like the third person. Literally, I had 3 people in 3 days. Like one every day, I met a new person, and they said that exactly the same thing when they found out what I did for a job. They go, oh, was the Trump assassination attempt real? And every time I went like this,
yeah,
and they got embarrassed because like I basically think they're an idiot, I mean, it's not that I think they're an idiot. I just think I'm just disappointed that they're so ignorant, that they're so misinformed.
Yeah.
And so and every single time, and I'm not talking about the last 3 times, I'm talking about like every time somebody's asked me this, I always ask them the same thing, Jason. Since the very first time, I always ask them the same thing. I go, did you watch the actual footage of the assassination attempt? And every time, Jason, you know what they tell me?
No.
Well, no, I don't follow the news. No, I didn't see. I don't really watch. And I'm like, okay, if there's an idea in your head, I think somebody has told me that Donald Trump faked his assassination attempt. Even if you want to believe it, don't you sit there and you go, oh, let me watch the video of the assassination attempt and see for myself.
Yeah.
How is it that every single person that has said this to me, every single one of them has heard this rumor and then just not gone and watched the assassination attempt, just gone, oh, okay, and then kept scrolling? Like, if you hear something that crazy, wouldn't you want to look into it? I don't know.
It's like Europe still in the medieval times. Like they only got their news source from one guy that came to a town and told them, "Oh, this is what's going on." It's not like we have a million things.
Faked his,
exactly. It's not like we have a million outlets out there now that you can get information on. I mean, it's wild. That's a good one. Hear ye, Trump. It was an attempted assassination, but no, it was a conspiracy.
Yeah. No, I think maybe it's fun to believe in conspiracy theories. So I think that, especially like one against Trump, because the international community hates Trump so much, news media in particular.
I love it. Like we didn't land on the moon one.
Oh man, no. Look, if I look a little bloodshot today, if I look a little bit tired, you can blame Sebastian Gorka for that. I had so right now, it's 7:45, quarter to 8 almost here where I am, and so I've been up for quite a long time. I did a Newsmax hit at in my time it was about 10:45. Here at night last night, and then I had to do Make Movies Great Again at 2 a.m. We record that a day ahead of time, which I probably shouldn't say, but that's true. So I was up from 2 to 3 in the morning, and then I had to get up again at 6:30 for this. Actually, I normally get up at 5:30 for this, but I was so sleepy I just went back to sleep, and I woke up that's why we're a little bit late today. That and Jason disappeared for some reason. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. It was.
Yeah, but anyway, we got it back. All right, Fritz Miles has jumped back on, or Fritz Mills or something. I don't know. 5 pounds. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Oh no, not pounds. It's euros. 5 euros. Fritz. He must be German. Thank you very much, Fritz. Okay, that's my German. A German accent. There's multiple German accents, right? Well, I guess there's only 2 that I really do: the normal German accent and the gay German accent. And then Gorka just texted me, "Stop bitching and moaning. You love how I treat you." Anyway, Fritz writes, and he says, by the way, Haitians do eat cats because it's a tradition. Yeah, I know. I've heard that. Actually, you know what's funny? Actually, this is a Gorka tweet. I'll bet try to find this tweet. So yeah, Seb, I do occasionally check out your tweets when they pop into my feed. What did he write? He wrote something like Marianne Williams. You remember her?
Uh-huh.
So Marianne Williams, who ran for president in 2020, I think it was. It might have been 2016. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was 2016. She might have done it again in 2020 also.
But anyway, Seb wrote something like, "Well, I didn't have this on my bingo card." And Marianne Williams came out and she was like, "Yeah, look, this is a real thing. Like in Haiti, they practice voodoo." Okay, so this is Marianne Williamson. She writes, "Continuing to dump on Trump because Marianne Williamson she's kind of like a spiritual guide or something."
Uh-huh.
She's a little crazy, but
yeah.
Anyway, she's funnily enough, the girl that lives next door right here, she loves Marianne Williamson. She's a little bit like her too. She's a little bit foo-foo and a little bit crazy, but sweet girl, very beautiful girl. So I'm not gonna crap on her Marianne Williamson love. But anyway, she writes, "Continuing to dump on Trump because of the eating cats issue will create blowback on November 5th. Haitian voodoo is in fact real, and to dismiss the story out of hand rather than listen to the citizens of Springfield, Ohio, confirms in the," she put a period there, she should not have, typo, Springfield, Ohio, confirms in the minds of many voters the stereotype of Democrats as the smug elite jerks who think they're too smart to listen to anyone outside their own silo. That's a very astute observation. She actually goes on, she says, "I did not say that such things were happening in Springfield. I simply said that the practice itself is ancient and verifiable, as reported in such reputable sources as National Geographic magazine. See below. My point was that dismissing the stories out of hand is not good politics. My comment had nothing to do with the race, Haitian culture in general, or immigrants. Such projections onto my comment are just that." Well, but that's the thing. Like the fact that they just go, "That's racist." That's racist to say that, because they're essentially placing a sort of a judgment on our perception, on their culture, right? Because we perceive what's going on, right? So it's like saying a lot of Black Americans do not speak proper English, right? They don't speak, for whatever reason in Black culture. I consider it racist, to be honest, like of Black people oftentimes, where they say, don't talk like white people. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this, right? Where black people will say that if you
I
talk
hate it.
well, if you speak well,
Yeah,
you're talking like white people, right? And that's part of black culture in America. And I actually think it's a huge problem because you get these black kids growing up and they're basically told not to speak properly. And it's like, okay, are they going to get a good job when they graduate from high school? Are they going to go to college?
Now they can. It's DEI.
Yeah, maybe. But you're going to limit their chances by doing that. So I've always thought this was terribly detrimental to black people in America. Like they're like what about what do they call it? Ancestral wealth or whatever they keep talking about this crap. Like you have to build that generational wealth is what they call it, generational wealth. Well, you know why you haven't built any gosh darn generational wealth? So you could tell your kids not to speak English properly. Don't get an education. Okay, if you tell your kid not to get an education, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, he's not going to get a good job. He's not going to develop your generational wealth that you want. It's not white people's fault. It's not white people's fault that you're racist against white people. Okay, so when I bring that sort of stuff up,
also giving them names that are just pretty crazy.
Yeah. LaQuasia. Yeah. It's funny actually. There's these studies that they've done where they say that they've sent out like resumes to companies with like traditionally black names, like identifiably black names, and they sent out whatever it is resumes to companies with traditionally white names, like recognizably white names, and they said, okay, well, they tend to call in the white name people more, for interviews than the black name people, even though they might have identical resumes. And I was thinking about that study and I was like, well, what is a traditionally white name? Like John Barrington III? Is that like a white name? Because I'd probably bring that guy in too. What is a traditionally black name, like identifiably black name? Like LaQuisha Johnson? Like, okay, so if you're talking about identifiably black names, you're probably talking about poor black people names, right? Like ghetto names. If you're talking about identifiably white people names, you're probably talking about rich people names, right? That's what it has to do with probably. It probably has to do with you may not even be dealing with in the HR department, you may be dealing with black people doing the hiring.
Yeah.
But they may be looking at those names going, oh, this is gutter trash, whatever. Like, because people think of poor people as trashy. They're not always. Okay.
Yeah. So you would think if you're a black parent, you would think, let me name my kid John Barringer, Yeah, exactly. But so the thing is, like, people are very judgy about class, right? I mean, if you've seen this movie, Hillbilly Elegy, you know what I'm talking about, right? The guy who will probably be the next vice president grew up very poor, to a mom who had drug addiction, exactly that sort of like, hillbilly thing, right? That redneck, white trash, whatever you want to call it. If you would have listed on those applications, like, instead of saying like, John Barrymore III or whatever, you wrote, this is Trevor Hicks, right? If you wrote Trevor Hicks or something like that, is Trevor Hicks a famous person? I probably shouldn't. I'm sure it's a country singer or something like that. But you know what I mean? If you wrote like a very hickish sounding last name, or full name, and you put that out, is that going to get the interviews? Is that going to get people brought in? Probably not, right? So they should have done a similar study, but instead of using like black names, they should have done hillbilly names. So they should have done like rich white people names and hillbilly names, and then check the difference between those two, so that you could see. Because I'm 100% sure this would have been a class distinction as opposed to a black-white distinction, right? Somebody will look at a black name that they would consider like low class, and they'll be like, oh, that's a trashy person, we're not going to bring him in. And they'll look at a white person with like a low class name, and they will say the same thing. That's a trashy person, we don't want to bring them in. People are like that. People are very judgy about about that sort of thing. I think it's probably wrong for the most part, but that's just experience,
that's just how people are in the world, and that's just kind of how it's always going to be. You know, people are judgy. People are judgy for irrational reasons sometimes.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's a bad thing, because you are a product of your surroundings, right?
Your environment sometimes. Yeah.
So I mean, maybe there's a few that are not, that are the opposite of that, but I mean,
well, we've gone off on a tangent, but the point I'm trying to make is, I think it's totally legitimate to be critical of other people's races, or just to observe trends in races.
Yeah,
like you said, like the weird thing about naming kids these like very, very African sounding names or whatever, or telling your kids not to educate themselves or not to speak well. To me, these are things that need to be identified, need to be brought up, and observing them is not racist, right? So if the people of Springfield, Illinois, or Springfield, Ohio, or whatever it was, I thought it was Springfield, Illinois, Springfield, Ohio. Okay. So if they're observing that the Haitian immigrants are stealing and eating the cats, right?
Yeah.
That observation is not in itself inherently racist.
Right? Look.
And then, go on.
No, I was gonna say, look, I live in Miami. I know a lot of Haitians. I have Haitian friends. And let me tell you, the stories I've heard, I'm 100% convinced that that's going on. Not only that,
really,
stuff I've heard.
I want to know a story. I want to know a story.
Wild.
I want to know a story.
I can tell you like a story, but I'm not gonna say it here because it's crazy.
I want to hear the story on our show right now, Jason.
I can't. I can't. I can't. Maybe in another show, I'll have the guts to do it.
I want the story.
But there's so my brother-in-law is here from Spain, but he was telling me about, he's from the Dominican Republic, and he was telling me about many years ago, there was a certain animal in the rivers in the DR where they come from, you know, and when the Haitians came, they just started killing all of them, destroying all of them, and you know what they ended up doing? Extincting that certain animil, because they would take them, eat them. Yeah, so
driving them to extinction.
Yes, so I'm telling you,
I don't know if extincting is an actual.
Yeah, verb. I know. I made it up now. You know, I'm a product of my surroundings.
Extinctifying.
Anyway, so let me tell you, for me, when I hear something like that, I'm like, yeah, that's probably more than likely true. It's actually happening. Especially you're bringing. We all know what's going on in Haiti. We all know the country. It's Haiti has never been a civilized nation. Really, it hasn't. And we see what's going on there. So you're going to grab people from Haiti, bring them over here, and you think they're going to change? I mean, come on. They're going to continue doing their stuff. They're going to continue with the voodoo. They're going to continue with the sacrificing animals. They're going to continue with the biting off animals' heads and eating them and sucking the blood out. You know, hint. That's one of the.
Frick.
That's one of the things I've been told, you know. So there you go. Yeah.
Hold on. Did you just say they cut the head off animals and
bite them off,
the blood out?
Bite them off.
Bite the head, and then they suck the blood out of the body or the head of the animal? Which one?
The body.
Okay, the body.
So I mean,
a bird of some kind. This is a bird.
Any animal.
And you know,
I
don't know if you can bite. There's certain animals I don't think you can bite the head off of. It would have
they're very like into the superstitions and the black religious things, sacrificing and voodoo and you know there's a whole thing about them with the creating zombies, like making people think they're zombies and stuff.
But I always thought that was kind of like over. I thought that was like 100 years ago or 50 years ago, maybe at the latest. But
yeah. So one Haitian told me it's even in their flag. Like there's a symbol of it in their flag of all that stuff. And so, I mean, it's wild. It's wild.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, that's a little bit disturbing.
I've been told that they put, if you want me to go more, I've been told that they put make certain like rituals where they will have people get sick and they do all kinds of crazy things, and it all comes down to sacrificing animals and all that stuff. So,
well, hold on, you kind of teased us like you were going to say something particularly crazy, and then I want to know what this is.
I'm just gonna say, we have to be very. When we choose people to come into this country, let's be very picky.
I believe they call it being discriminate.
Yeah.
It's funny because the word discriminate, it can mean like to discriminate unjustly, right? Racially discriminate. But it can also mean, I have discriminating tastes, right? I only have the best of everything, right? So it's considered like a good thing when you use it in certain contexts. It's considered a bad thing. But I actually think with immigration, it should be considered a good thing. We have discriminating tastes with our immigrants. We only bring in the best immigrants, right? And maybe the voodoo practicing cat stealing Haitians. Not to say they're all cat stealing voodoo practicing, but the ones who are, maybe let's avoid that.
And don't get me wrong, like the Haitians I know, they're very well educated, well spoken. They can be some really smart. They're really smart and intelligent. And when I went to college, I had Haitian professors that were like geniuses at math and stuff. So it's not really it's
not the entire population, but there's a certain
but the majority is wild. But you have a
really you would say the majority is
I
wild.
would say
okay.
I would
wow.
say
I was thinking it was a small percentage that's wild, but you're saying the majority is wild. Oh wow, fascinating. Well, look, I would say this. The voodoo thing is weird, man. I didn't really realize that this is still going on.
Oh yeah, it is.
But I'm kind of blown away by this. So
it's that's one of the things that I kind of came up with. I mean, this is my perspective. Like they're very into like satanic rituals.
Haitians. And these Haitians are telling you these stories firsthand.
Yep. And the thing I came up with is that like they're very into like satanic rituals, and I think that's why their country never progresses because
really
I think God has left it
country in the Western Hemisphere.
So I think that holds them back. I think that culture holds them back because I've seen the potential in a lot of them.
Yeah, of course. Like you have good and bad people in every group. We always say that on this show. You got to judge people as an individual, not as part of the group. But listen, at the bottom line,
I just want to like okay, because I have a wife. I didn't want to be like whatever, but I've dated a few Haitians, so I know I know some inside scoops, but
I see.
Forgive me, wife.
But listen. There's two things. Bottom line, I'll get two things to say. The very bottom line here is we shouldn't have any illegal immigrants at all.
Yes.
Why do we have any illegal immigrants at all?
Yes.
You know how many illegal immigrants we should have in America right now? Effing zero. That's how many we should have, no matter where they're from. Why is anyone defending the Haitian immigrants? These are illegal immigrants. Nobody should be defending them. They should all be like, why are these people here? And the last point that I have to say on this is simply this.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Anyway, I just love that. I can't get enough of it. Anyway. All right, should we go on to another story?
Let's do it. Yeah. I'm getting myself in trouble here, so please, let's change the subject.
We got some super chats to read. Give me 1 second here. Fritz Miles jumped back in. He says, by the way, Haitians do eat cats because it's a tradition. I already read that one, I think. Okay. Still Fang jumped in. Still Fang. Good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while. $5 says, zombies do exist. We call them Democrats.
There's a great skit with I forgot the actors. It was like an old black and white movie, and it was what's his name? Oh man, that famous actor. And they did a whole skit like that, like about zombies, and they're like, he's like, who are you talking about? Democrats? I gotta look for that and put on the next show.
Yeah, find it. I love that. Curtis, KD5AYY, one of our all-time favorites here because he donates ridiculous amounts of money to us, which none of us understand. Totally inexplicable.
Always good to see Curtis.
Amazing. This is, of course, the Curtis Show. We all know that. And he says
wait. Your next segment right now is made possible by Curtis.
Yeah, exactly. He says they tried to eat my $5,000 silver bangle. Sorry. If they try to eat my $5,000 silver bangle, They're gonna find out real quick. You know what's funny about that? I also used to have a silver bangle, but I actually paid about half that. But that was many years ago. And the reason I bought this cat, this was back when I was making a lot of money doing YouTube, which is not true anymore. But back then I was married, and my wife really wanted a cat, right? My ex-wife really wanted a cat. She wanted a cat or a bird, but she was saying like birds make too much noise. So we should probably, if we get a pet, we'll probably get a cat. But I'm allergic to cats, actually. But bangles, I'm not allergic to bangles.
Oh, wow.
Weirdly. It's like one of the few cats I'm not allergic to. So I was like, okay. And apparently this is true for a lot of people. If you're allergic to cats, you may not be allergic to bangles, but bangles are kind of expensive, right? So I went in and we looked at bangles, and I really like these gray ones, these what they call silver bangles. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna buy this cat for you. And I bought her this ridiculously expensive cat, but then we split up, and she's got the cat. So she better protect it from the Haitian voodoo practitioners.
But with every super chat from Curtis, we learn a lot about him. So
yeah, Curtis, those silver bangles are amazing. They're beautiful, beautiful animals. The only problem is they are the loudest cats on earth. These things are like all the time. And just, oh my God, just shut up. And I thought, oh, we should have got the bird. We should have got the dang bird. This is the loudest cat. I mean, I don't know if they're all like that, but mine was nuts. Well, thank you, Curtis, for that amazing super chat.
Thank you. Yep. And G.I. Jose, yeah, Bob Hope. That's who was in that clip. I got to look for that.
Oh, that's right. That's a really old school. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was back in Hollywood. It was Republicans. They were all intelligent. All right, Inkling 98 says the biggest NPCs in America, there are in the Fauci Club. If you still believe the science after 5 years after the fact, you're more senile than Biden or Harris. COVID AIDS is 100% over. Move on already. Yeah,
COVID AIDS. Yeah, I thought I was the only person that used that COVID AIDS. I bother everybody in my family. I'm like, when they sneeze or cough, I'd be like, "You got the COVID AIDS? You got the COVID AIDS?
You got the COVID." Look, there are people that still wear masks today. It's weird. It's a little weird because we all know that masks don't work. If you're in an Asian country, I think that this has kind of become like a cultural thing. It's like a sign that you're protecting other people from your illness if you have a little bit of a cold or something like that. So it's considered polite actually to wear one of these masks. Are they effective? I don't think so. Maybe for some illnesses they are. I don't know. But for COVID, I don't think they were. But anyway, so in Asian countries, I would never correct somebody because I think that's part of the culture. But in America, I kind of lose respect for people if I see them with a mask.
Yeah. The Asian culture is about see, I forgot the word. I was just courtesy. They're courteous. They're courteous about the other people around.
What is this show called? It's called The Curtis Show. Maybe we should call it The Courtesy Show. Anyway, so
but see, man, now you got me. Now you made me forget, Chris. Wow. I
know. I am an a-hole. That's my job.
You know I got ADD, and then you do this to me, man.
I know. It's my bad, folks. You were saying that Asian culture is about courtesy.
Yeah. So that's they're courteous to the people around them. So and here it's just you're just dumb if you wear a mask.
I think here it's about fear and buying into the narrative and protecting yourself. It's not really about protecting
not
other
smart,
people.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're not being courteous. They're just being pathetic, I think.
What's pathetic is seeing them. There's still some people wearing them in the car by themselves. That's what gets me.
That's the craziest thing. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next story here. We've got a poll. It says Kamala Harris trails Donald Trump 17% with working class voters. The same deficit Joe Biden faced in June. Former President Donald Trump is crushing Vice President Kamala Harris among working class voters by the same margin with which he led President Joe Biden in June, according to the latest New York Times Siena College poll. Poll conducted September 3rd to 6th, 2024, published on Sunday, shows that that Trump is leading Harris by 17 points, 56% to 39% among non-college educated voters. In a poll taken, blah, 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 blah. They keep saying the same. This is one thing I don't like about Breitbart. The headline They put the headline in, and then they repeat the headline in the first sentence, and then they repeat the headline in the third sentence. They repeat the headline again in the next paragraph. And it's like, could you just like put a little more substance in here? If you're gonna put filler, put better filler. There's no sugarcoating it. This is a serious problem for the Democrats. College-educated Americans may be delighted with candidate Harris, but also I think we need to hit them a little bit more on the Israel-Palestine thing, because, if we keep showing that Kamala is pro-Israel, the thing is, the fact that Kamala is a person of color, quote unquote, really helps her a lot here, because the reason they support Palestine is they believe that the Palestinians are a darker shade of brown than the Israelis.
That's crazy.
That's the insane logic of the left, And so, but now that they've got Kamala as an option, they're like, oh, it's like that meme where the guy's sweating over which button to press. And they're like, should I vote for the brown candidate, or should I vote for the brown people in the Israeli-Palestine conflict? So they're not, I think that they're now like, okay, now that it's Kamala Harris, we can ease up a little bit on like pointing the finger at the evil white man who's against the brown people, kind of thing. So I think Kamala Harris kind of saved them from that Palestinian problem they had with the college students. Curtis KD5AYY jumped back and he says, that works. My middle initial is ELMAO. Curtis E. Oh, that's funny, man. That's too funny. I love that. That's crazy. That would be like if my middle name was Moss. Anyway, because I'd be Christmas. Anyway, Steel Fang jumped in. And he says, I don't get why people from crappy countries come to America for a better life, yet do the same crap they did in their old country.
Yeah, that's the question everybody wants to know.
Well, you know what? I do understand why they do that. They do that because they want to sacrifice the chickens or whatever it is that they're going to do for their little rituals with better bathrooms, better indoor plumbing, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a better architecture, like a nicer mirror, you know what I mean? Paved roads.
I think here also the animals are kind of cleaner, so.
So that's what it is, I think. I mean, yeah, I think it takes a generation or two for that to sort of like go away. But then when you get mass immigration, you can go for like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations, and it doesn't go away.
Exactly.
Like if you go down to certain parts of LA, you'll meet people who are like 3 or 4 generations in from Latin America, primarily Mexico, probably, that still don't really speak English very well. Or they speak English, but they speak sort of like Spanglish,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why is it still lingering the very, very, very strong Mexican culture within these neighborhoods? Well, it's because there are so many Mexicans in those neighborhoods that you can actually live your whole life. You could be born and die in that neighborhood and never really acclimate to American culture, never assimilate into American culture.
You have
stay in that Mexican culture.
Yeah, you have that here in Miami. Like, it's
exactly.
You don't have to speak English here in Miami. If you speak Spanish, you're good. It's funny because I'll be speaking English in a store or something, and they'll come up to me and ask me, why don't you speak Spanish? ¿Por qué tú no hablas español? That's what they would say. I'm like,
yeah, because
I'm in the United States of America. What are you talking about?
No, my family's German American, but I got the dark features, right? Like Jason and I, obviously, we could be like related, right? We could be cousins.
Well, somebody thought we were twins on the chat. So
yeah, it's because the haircuts. So no, but like when I was in Miami going to school, I went to school with Jason's brother. When I was at school in Miami, people would I'd be walking down the street, like where was I? I don't know, Coconut Grove or something, or I'd be South Beach or something like that, and I'd be walking around, and people would come, like drive up, park, like roll down the window, and start asking me for directions in Spanish, and I'd be like, and I always say the same thing. I go, I'm white. I don't know what you're saying. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or I'd be at Target and somebody would come up to me and they start speaking Spanish to me, like ask, I don't know why would they think I would know stuff, but I don't know. They would always come up and ask me. So I was like 18, 19, 20. I'm in college, I'm like, I don't.
Well,
okay, I'm a kid.
The thing about it here is that it's not like if you go to the Midwest or something, and you're dealing with Mexicans, and Mexicans have a certain look, so you can easily tell that. But here in Miami, it's crazy because you have like Cubans, and also Argentinians and stuff like they could pass for Scottish.
They look white.
They just came from Scotland. My dad's business partner was a full. My dad's business partner was a full on redhead. Like he looked like
right,
but he didn't speak a lick of English. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, no, you say that about Mexicans, but the funny thing is, Mexicans are just like most other people in Latin America, I would say, where they have the native Mexican, like the native looking Mexicans, right? Where they're a little darker, shorter, more distinctive features. And then you have like the white Mexicans, right? They're from Spain. Right, they come from Spain,
but the white Mexicans don't come here. It's the
exactly that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's
the reason we think that Mexicans look a certain way in America is because you have a certain class of Mexican that's come up over the years, these migrant workers and stuff, which is, by the way, why they call them migrants, even though they're not migrants. So this idea, because migrant comes from the word migration, right? And what is the word migration? It's how birds go, like, in winter they go south and in summer they go north. Well, what used to happen is we used to have this program in America where you could get people to work on farms from Mexico. So what would happen is during harvest season, Mexican farm workers would come up from Mexico on a temporary visa, work the farms, and then go back to Mexico. That's why we call them. Sorry, I heard something. I thought there was somebody knocking on the door. That's why we call them migrants, right? But they're not migrants, because migrants migrate. They go from one place to another and back to whatever. It's migration, back and forth migration. That's why we call them migrants. No, they're not migrants. They're illegal aliens. Okay, stop calling them migrants, mainstream media. But anyway, the girl next door that I was talking about, she's Mexican, actually. She's from Mexico. But she's white, and I asked her where her ancestry was from, and she said Spain and Ireland.
Yep.
But that's where her ancestors are from. But she grew up in Mexico, right? And she's kind of funny, actually. She said, I shouldn't say this because she probably wouldn't want me to say it, but she goes, I can never go back to Mexico. She goes, Mexico is so boring. She's like, my family, like all my siblings are married. And my mom's always like, come back to Mexico, honey. Come back and live with us. Stay with us. She's like, go back. And she's like, why don't you stay here and get a husband and have kids? And she's like, I don't want that life. She's like, I need to be somewhere interesting and fun. So she's like, so I left Mexico. And then she starts talking about like the cartels and how Tulum used to be this place where it was kind of like Bali. Like everybody would go to Tulum for like the music scene. It was like a cool, trendy place to go. I think it was probably even more sort of like a dance club type scene, festival scene, even than Bali is, because Bali has that for sure. They have this sort of like people. I mean, what's crazy is like Indonesia. There's you can't do drugs. Like if you are caught trafficking drugs, like having drugs to sell or whatever, they will kill you. Like they will just kill you. So you can't come to Indonesia with drugs at all. There are people that do drugs, of course. You do see it a little bit in the nightclubs and stuff. But it's like the death penalty here. It's crazy. Like they really are like zero tolerance for drugs policy. But there is a little bit of corruption here. There is some shady stuff that goes down. But she's like, Tulum is now, or this other guy was talking about it because he was living in Mexico as well. But we were all talking yesterday about this. And they're like, yeah, basically the cartels just run Tulum. Like they ruined it. Like Tulum used to be this like really cool, trendy place for everybody to go. And the cartels took it all over. And now you can't go down there. It's like too dangerous. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is Mexico is both boring and terribly dangerous. And she's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't say these things about Mexico. She's like, this is my home country. Like, I love Mexico. I shouldn't say these bad things. She's like, but I can't live there. It was kind of a funny conversation. Yeah, I've been to Mexico, of course. I think most Americans have, but yeah, probably not my first choice for a vacation. But it's so close to America that I think a lot of people like to go.
But to go back to what you said earlier is it's true. Like we need to be selective in immigration, even in legal immigration. It needs to be it needs to be way less than what it is. I actually suggest stopping it for like 10 years, for at least a decade.
Just all immigration. Yeah,
all immigration. You know, and it's, you're right. That's the big issue. People need to assimilate into their new country, you know, and that's what they used to do back in the day. They would assimilate. Then there'd be time, like they would stop the immigration. There'd be time for a generation to at least become a part of the culture and the society, you know.
Well, you know what? I have a slightly different solution, which is, I don't know, maybe it's not actually a good solution. I would like to sort of like brainstorm with people and try to figure this out. I think I have it in my yeah, okay, I do have it in here. I have a list of things I want to tell Trump to do when he gets into office. Like, Trump, can we do these things? You know, like, we're trying to work with him on these ideas. I have a list. But one of the ideas is, can we prioritize Europeans coming in? And I've talked about this on the show before, and I think a lot of people will automatically reject this as racist. But here's the thing. We used to prioritize Europeans, right? And the reason we prioritize Europeans... Yeah, go on.
I was to say, man, I don't know. The Europeans are pretty dumb right now. Do we actually want them here?
That's why I was saying I don't know if this is the best idea, but we can talk about it. But the reason we used to prioritize Europeans is because historically they had the same culture we did, right? So they had they came out of a Christian European tradition. They had basically the same laws. I mean, very similar laws. They had these laws that were basically like, you know, don't steal, don't murder, you know, don't sacrifice animals, you know, these, you know, suck the blood out of them. Yeah. You know, these we had sort of like the same kind of culture, essentially, same kind of cultures. And so Europeans could assimilate into American culture very, very easily, very quickly. A lot of countries in Europe have become extremely atheist at this point. So I don't love that. But at the end of the day, most European cultures, especially the more sort of white European traditional, like native-born Europeans, regions, have, you know, very little crime. People in Europe, in most countries, like not all countries, but I'll tell you about Belgium in a second. But like in the Scandinavian countries, in I would say probably the UK for the most part, like Germany, I would say. A lot of these countries, they have an ethic of hard work, like work hard, you know, be honest, you know, don't steal from the government, don't try to rip people off. You know, there's some level of integrity within these cultures to do the right thing. You know, and some of that comes from the convenience of having a little bit of wealth. You know, people aren't struggling so much that they're desperate. So they're
but you're right, because you see it the way they treat their immigration issue. You know, you're absolutely right. They're all about doing the right thing and the good thing.
Exactly. You know? They're all about doing the right thing, the good thing. And it may not be because they're good people. It may just be because that's the social convention. But if you're bringing people in who all feel the sense of duty to do the right thing all the time, you're going to have a better country, aren't you? And especially if that's the American ethic, you know, the American ethic jives well with the European ethics that we're, you know, from the people we're bringing in. So you can prioritize them, not because they're quote unquote, because they're white, but because they have a similar cultural ethic that you know, as you have. And what we changed it to at one point, I don't remember exactly what point, I have to look it up again, but we decided at one point, we were like, you know what, we're being very racist with our immigration policy. We should focus on diversity. Diversity is what should really be focused on. We should.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
But the minute you say you should bring white people to Africa, or you should bring white people to Saudi Arabia or something like that, or Christians to Saudi Arabia, it's like, oh no, what are you trying to do?
You know what we need to do? We need to anglify, or we need to Americanize the entirety of the brown world, the black and brown world. Yeah, people would be like, you're a racist colonizer. They call it colonizer, right? You're a colonizer. If you bring in people with better technology, better systems of government, you know, I would say probably better religion, better ethics, this kind of thing. If you bring in these, you know, this culture into what I would call a more primitive culture, that's bad.
You're a god.
Yeah, but if you bring in the primitive culture with their biting the heads off animals and sucking their blood out, and that's a good thing. That's progress. You're a diversity. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, that's how the left thinks. They're nuts. They're crazy. We all know that. But yeah, so I always say we need to bring back that idea of, prioritize Europeans. It's insane. Like I was talking to this girl the other day, a little while ago, about. She basically is saying like there's no way she could go to America because she's an attractive Russian girl, and they would just never give her a visa because for various reasons. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, that's who we don't want to bring in. Beautiful Russian women. Who doesn't want beautiful Russian women? The only people that don't want beautiful Russian girls to don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. The only people that don't want beautiful Russian girls to come to America are nasty, feminists, ugly feminists who are jealous. That's who. The people who hate Melania. Those are the people that don't want my Russian girls coming into America.
I would say if you do immigration, you put up a magazine of all the top models of every color, and you should allow any beautiful woman in the country. That's my stance.
Exactly. All beautiful women get a free visa to America. That's going to be my new policy. I'm going to put that in my recommendations for Trump. Make America beautiful again.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly.
I want to read this super chat. This is pretty funny. So first I got to go back and I got to read Curtis's. This is Curtis KD5AYY, who always gives us way too much money. Thank you so much. You're so generous, Curtis. We love you, of course. We're calling Curtis C from now on. Curtis E jumps in. He says, that works. My middle initial is E, LMAO. That was pretty funny, right? We enjoyed that. Then MMA Fix jumps in with a tweet, with a super chat here. And he says, I'd like to formally invite Curtis KD to my stream. Everybody wants you in their stream, Curtis. Everybody wants you in their stream. Okay, Steel Fang jumps in. He says, oh, Mr. Reagan, did you see the Reagan movie? I did. It's surprisingly good. Steel Fang, I have been wanting to see this movie so badly. You have no idea. I need to talk to Seb, actually, about this. He might be able to help me out. I've actually met Penelope Ann Miller, who plays Nancy Reagan. So she might be able to help me out. And I did text her on Instagram, but she didn't get back to me because I don't think she follows me. So I don't think she got my message, which is really annoying. But what I'd really like to see is like a digital screening. Like if they could send me something. I've had this before where they sent me this so I could review a film. I think Sound of Freedom, I had one. They sent me one. But I haven't been able to get, I don't know. I haven't really worked hard to do this. I could probably do it, but I need a special screening because they do not play this movie where I am in the world. They do not play this movie. I can't get it anywhere. I don't think it's because like a political thing. I just think it's
theatrical.
Who's going to watch a movie?
Yeah.
I just think it's a commercial thing. Like who's going to watch a movie about Ronald Reagan in friggin' Indonesia? I just don't think it's going to be a popular film. So they just don't like. There's the cinemas that they have here. They only have very few screens. Actually, I don't know if watching movies is like not a big deal here or whatever. But like, it's hard to even see any movies here. Like, it's only like the biggest movies that they have here.
That's why you like it there so much. The people are not brainwashed by Hollywood.
No, they are definitely not. What's funny is I met this guy. He was born in Japan. He's of Chinese heritage. So he is actually Chinese, but he was born in Japan. But he did go to America, I think, when he was like 15 or something like that. And so, but he went to Boston. And so he's the guy that was saying that Trump in his next debate should say like, Kamala, you are Joe Biden. You are Joe Biden. Just keep saying that. This is that guy. And he's like a Trump guy. And I'm like, that's really weird that you're a Trump guy because you lived in Boston. You lived in Boston, Massachusetts. That's like a Democrat Central. You know what I mean? Like, how did you not come out super woke and crazy? And he goes, his response was, I have a high IQ.
I mean, really, that's what it comes down to.
Like, I'm an intelligent person. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's some high IQ idiots that vote Democrat.
No, I know it was a joke, of course, but
I'm correcting myself because I'm like, actually, there are kind of high IQ idiots out there too. So
High IQ idiots. Yeah, that's absolutely true. You know what? It's what I say. I always say that they're gullible, right? Because you can be high IQ and be gullible. And I think that's what happens. That's my view. But anyways, thank you, Still Fang, for that super chat. We've got Piv Vittel in the chat. He says, or she, I'm not sure, says, I'm of the opinion that we should use the term illegal entrance more widely. Harder to spin that as racist. Well, you know,
doesn't matter.
That's actually a good compromise. That's a good compromise. But the word alien, it's sort of like coyotes. Do you remember when this came out where they said, look, there's these coyotes bringing people across the border, and like there were some really like low IQ people who didn't, or I just guess uneducated. They didn't know that a coyote meant like a human trafficker, you know, somebody who's trafficking people across the border. They thought that when people are saying coyotes are bringing people across the border, they thought that was the animal. The coyote.
Yeah. No, absolutely true. They did. I remember
this was
that.
2016 or something, because Trump had said something about the coyotes. And people online were like making fun of him, like, Trump thinks coyotes are dragging people across the border. And they're like, you know, there was like, people were photoshopping the actual dog, the coyote, like a baby in its mouth, like going across the border and stuff. They're like, haha, Trump's so stupid. And all of us who, of course, know what a coyote is are watching this online going, you have got to be kidding me.
No.
And they were making the argument that talking about the coyotes bringing people across the border is somehow racist. And we're like, dude, it's not racist. They're called coyotes. It's not like a bad term or anything. I mean, that's just what we call it. I don't know why we call them that, but it's not racist.
Because I think the Mexican people call them that. That's what the Mexicans call them.
Right, and it's not. It's got nothing to do with the race. That's
what the people that are coming in here illegally called the people that were bringing them here coyotes.
Right? Yeah, that's what they're called. But also the word alien. You know, if you say that's alien to me, that just means that it's like something I don't understand. It's from like another. It's from somewhere else, right? It's something that I'm not familiar with, right? So the idea of an alien, it just means somebody from somewhere else. Really, it's become known as, you know, alien from outer space. That's how we kind of use the term now.
Some low IQ people on the Democrat side think, like, I've heard them actually say, like, why do we call them aliens? Are they from outer space or something? I've actually heard them say that.
Yes, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's sort of like the coyote thing. It's like these people are so uneducated, they don't know what these words mean, and so they spin it, right? They spin it and they go, oh, you're calling these foreigners space aliens because you hate them. And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
How are people this dumb?
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're calling us racist because they don't understand what words mean. That's basically what's going on. You know,
so
they don't understand the definition.
On Piv Vittel's point, it doesn't matter. Even if Trump said, or if anybody on the right said illegal entrance, they would still say it's racist. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Why are you calling me entrance? Why are you calling them entrance? Are they in a trance? I don't think so. You're racist. Okay. Sorry.
You're calling us
all
ants?
Right, Curtis. Yeah, ant. All right, Curtis KD5AYY. This guy is the most generous human being on the planet. You got to stop sending us super chats, man.
No. I love our sponsor. He's our sponsor.
And we'll get into the show in one moment. First, of course, I have to tell you something. Our sponsor today is Curtis KD5AYY. With another $100 because the guy's a maniac. And he says, my silver bangle is only F3, and she's 44% Asian leopard, 30% Egyptian Mao, 13% African serval. The rest is 13% various domestic cat. Her Asian leopard and African serval mix is why she is so expensive. Oh, I see. Yeah, because your cat costs twice as much as mine. I would like to check mine, but I don't have the papers anymore. I gave it to my wife. I need
to see this cat in a picture. I'm really interested now. Because I don't know what the hell any of you guys are talking about silver bangles.
I need to see a picture. Into Google, man. Just type it into Google. You'll see it. Actually, send it to me. Send me any picture you find, and I'll post it. Bangles are the most beautiful cats that you can buy. They are incredible. The servals are actually quite cool as well. There's some. The serval is actually a much bigger cat, I think.
they look juicy. It's probably good eating.
Oh, that's good. I'm loving that. That's hilarious. Hold on. I have to now that you've said that, I have to play something here. Oh, I can't find it. Why can't I find it? Son of a gun. I lost it.
Pixent.
What's that?
Pixent.
Oh, the picture has been sent. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. One moment, please. Technical difficulties. Do you send it?
Yeah, yes. Exactly. Tripwire said that's a cool name, Tripwire. Fancy menu added. Yeah, that's gourmet eating right there.
All right. I think there we go. That's a silver bangle. It's not actually the best picture of one. You got a kind of like very basic picture, but they have these very elegant bodies. I think this is like an older cat. It's not a particularly good mix because this looks like kind of like an ordinary house cat. But the bangle that I had and how they often look is they're very elegant. They're almost like elongated, very thin, very beautiful. But this is the kind of coat that they have. This is the kind of pattern that they have where it kind of looks like a leopard or something like that. But since you said it's good eating, I obviously have to play just one more time.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
Gotta love it. Thank you, Curtis, for allowing me to play that one more time. I really just want to look at the girl. That's the only reason
I know. Yeah.
That's me. That's just me. All right. So let's go on to the next story, shall we? Newt Gingrich. The big loser of Tuesday's debate was ABC News. This isn't really yeah. I mean, okay, I guess we should cover this, but like this is pretty obvious, right? Like,
yeah.
Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich on Wednesday said the presidential debate was so clearly rigged it ultimately helped Donald Trump and hurt Kamala Harris. Yeah, that may be true. Do they have a video of it? No, they do not. Of course they don't. Oh, he wrote it. He wrote it in a... The dishonesty and bias of the moderator set new records for a network trying to rig a debate, Gingrich wrote. The big loser for Tuesday's presidential debate was ABC News. Virtually everyone recognized that ABC was Virtually everyone recognized what ABC was up to, and in the end, it helped the former president and hurt Harris, he observed. In his essay, Gingrich laid particular emphasis on the obviously biased fact-checking, which was not only tedious, but outright false at times. So the so-called fact-checking was atrocious, he wrote, citing an example of the moderator's assertion that President Trump's concern about babies being allowed to die at birth was wrong. Yeah, I mean, we've probably overly litigated this point at this point, but yeah, I mean, it's just true. I mean, what they I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like when the debate was over, this is the big point that you and I wasn't sure about, right? Were the American people going to be savvy enough to discern, the difference between what the media was saying to them and what the truth was in the debate? And I wasn't sure because I don't think people follow politics as much as we do. Now, a lot of people that watch our show and a lot of people, I would say, even just in the conservative movement in general, in the MAGA movement generally, they really pay close attention to politics. So in that sense, yeah, conservatives are going to be able to discern that Trump won this or that Trump actually made better points and that Trump was
exactly
more substantive and that he was more authentic and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, are regular voters going to see that? I'm not so sure. Are like leftist voters are when I say regular voters, I mean like undecided or leftist. What I really mean is low information voters. Are low information voters who watch this debate, that are they going to get it? But it kind of looks like they are getting it. At least the independents and the moderates. Every time I see a bit on them, they're like, yeah, I'm not so convinced Kamala won.
Yeah.
They're like, she didn't say really anything,
I'm actually pleasantly surprised about this. Like I because yeah, I'm just pleasantly surprised about it. When I see all the polls and even the leftist media, legacy media, kind of recognizing it, I was like, okay, this is
Jake
a
Tapper.
good
How about
thing.
Jake Tapper, man?
I have it on the
Jake.
I put it there. It's there on the.
All right. Well, okay. Let's go ahead and look at that. Was that one of mine?
Yeah.
From my
No, it's from me, but I think I got it from your ex or something.
Yeah. No, I can't. Oh yeah, here we go. I found it. Yeah, this is crazy, you guys. Check this out. This is one of the most bizarre things. Like Jake Tapper. This is what
President
I wrote.
Harris began the debate.
Hold on, sorry. I wrote, when did Jake Tapper grow testicles and become sane? What world are we living in? Okay, let's have a look at this.
Vice President Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy.
Do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
It went on from there. Despite the economy being the number one issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, out.
Jake Tapper.
No, when I saw stuff like that, I was like, this, no, like,
I feel like I'm in an alternate dimension.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm in an alternate timeline. What do they call that with the Berenstein Bears thing? Where it's the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect.
Yes,
I feel like
that's it. Yeah.
What dimension did we just flip into where Jake Tapper tells the truth and is like making?
I think future Mr. Reagan is actually got you to got it all working, right? Remember your
right? Did I go back in
video?
time and did I fix things somehow? Did I go back and Jake Tapper? On this day, you cannot say what you said. You got to say this about Kamala Harris. Anyway, that's pretty funny. Curtis KD5YY actually sent us a picture of his bangle. You want to see it? It's pretty beautiful. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead and share the screen. Window. Yeah, look at that. Look. Oh no, not that one. What did I do? Sorry.
Oh wow, I got his cat. I got the one that wow.
I put the same dang thing up. Hold on, give me 1 second. There we go. Curtis KD5YY. Oh, look at that beautiful thing. Look at that beautiful thing. Yeah. So you see how it's like all elongated and like elegant. It's got this sort of elegant thing. He writes, this is her. She's 21 inches from nose to rump at only 14 months old. The blue box she's messing with is a foot wide. Yeah, she's a big cat. I mean, some of the Bengals get relatively large, but they're not like enormous. They're not like the Savannah cats. Savannah cats are a much bigger kind of cat. The reason that probably, I don't know why this cat's so big, but you see the patterns on it. They are such beautiful cats, though.
Exactly, Gia Jose. Looks well fed. Careful, Curtis. Careful.
Think it's gonna murder him? I think we'll be all right.
No, I think they're gonna murder it.
Oh right. Gotta be careful with the voodoo doctors.
No, but it is a good looking cat. I'm actually a cat guy. You know, I actually like cats because they're self-sufficient. They have their own personalities and they don't take crap from anybody. So that's why.
Yeah, I love that. I love that cats they can just be left alone. You don't have to walk a cat. You know what I mean? Like cats just kind of do their own thing. They don't even really want you around most of the time. So I'm happy with that. All right, let's move on to the next story. Dale Hendricks has just jumped in. Dale Hendrickson $2. He says, what happens when you don't follow the skirt? Oops. That's what happens when you don't follow the skirt. I think maybe he was trying to say script. And he's Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's put it in the chat.
I think he's talking about Kamala Harris. All right, let's move on to the next story here. This is from Breitbart again. It says Harris Waltz co-chair ABC interrupted Trump more because they didn't fact check more normal falsehoods. By the way, I want to say about Jake Tapper real quick. I forgot to mention this, but I don't understand why Jake Tapper did that. Like, I'm kind of confused by it. Because I've not really seen the mainstream media.
I know why. CNN is trying. I think CNN is trying to save themselves. That's what I think.
Oh, you think that they?
I was going to say,
let's try to be neutral.
Yeah, I was going to say people don't fall for this. This is their one moment where they're going to throw in a little, a little food to the our side and say, hey, look, we're changing, but don't fall for it.
There's something up. I don't really get it. It's sort of like the you hear that story about Tenet Media? I'm supposed to do. I did a little bit of a thing on Newsmax about this. Tenet Media, who has like Lauren Chen, that was the woman who was accused of conspiring with the Russians to take $10 million to produce content. And Tim Pool obviously is involved with this. Dave Rubin, Matt Christensen, who I do actually watch Matt Christensen. I like his show. Lauren Southern, who I am connected to people who are good friends with Lauren Southern, although I've never met her. I talked to her before.
Yeah, I would like to have her on the show.
She's great. Yeah, I should connect with her at some point. But these folks are maintaining basically that they had total control over their own content. Now, Gorka has suggested a couple of things to me where, like, Tim Pool is essentially saying, like, Ukraine is evil, Russia's good. I'm not convinced that that's entirely the influence of the Russians who are paying them. But he said that there was correspondence within the indictment that indicates that Lauren Chen did push somebody to take like a pro-Russia narrative, which was actually a lie, and say that Ukraine attacked something when it was really like some other group, I can't remember, and push this lie. So this did happen at some point. So there was potentially some influence there. But at the end of the day, I feel like $10 million to occasionally push this idea that Russia is the good guy and Ukraine's the bad guy, when you've already got people like Tucker Carlson kind of pushing that a little bit. Not really. I mean, Tucker's more sort of just like anti-war neutral. So he's basically saying, Ukraine isn't exactly perfect, right? They've already got that influence, and they've already got people like Tim Pool saying that as well. They don't really need to pay them to say that stuff, So I don't really get it. And so my theory was that this might be like a CIA thing again, right? Where they might have gone in and they said, look, you know what we could do? Because we keep trying to tie Trump to Russia and we can't seem to figure out a way to do it. But what if we can't bribe Trump, but maybe you could bribe somebody else, right? But it's best to bribe somebody if they don't even know they're being bribed, right? So what you do is you get some Russians and you go, hey, if we give you a little money, can you send $10 million of our money? We'll give it to you, but you've got to give this money to this Tenet Media group, right? Lauren Chen and these people. We're going to set this up. You send them some money. She's going to get these influencers together. They're going to pay them an obscene amount of money. So she gets some people together. Now Gorka was actually offered this and he declined it because he was like, I don't know where this money's come from. It seems a little bit shady. So he, basically rejected them, which I think he's got bragging rights forever until eternity now. Like, he turned down dirty Russian money, influence money. Like, that's great, man. Like, how awesome is that? But he was like, it was pretty easy to discern because it was kind of sloppy tradecraft, right? Since when are the Russians that sloppy with their tradecraft? Like, I know Russians right now where I live who are better at tradecraft than that, better at covering their treks. So there's no way that these, whatever, people with hundreds of millions of dollars connected to the Russian government are going to be that bad. They're not going to be that obvious, right? And since when does the FBI come out and announce the investigations that they've got going on to the American public? Well, only when there's an election going on, and that investigation could hurt Trump, right? So it seems to me like this is all too convenient, right? You got these Russians who are paying these influencers to influence America to say things that they're going to say anyway. So you're paying them for nothing, like literally nothing. You're paying them for nothing. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, $10 million for nothing. It seems like the most benefit you're going to get out of that is if you want to defame them as being connected with Russia. That to me seems, because also, since when does the FBI make a habit of checking up who the financiers of various YouTubers are? I don't think that was probably on their radar for any reason other than maybe the CIA tipped them off and said, hey, look at these people. What's going on over here, right? So to me, this all makes sense logically. Now, this is all total speculation. This is not anything. I have no evidence of this whatsoever. I mentioned this to Gorka. He goes, the only evidence we have is how unbelievably sloppy their trade craft is. It's like unbelievably sloppy, Not that that's impossible. I mean, it is possible that it happened the way that the media is saying it. But how often do we hear about these situations where we're like, oh, this bad thing happened, blah, 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 and then we find out that the U.S. government set it up?
No,
this makes Trump support, but it doesn't just make Trump supporters look bad. A lot of their talking points now look bad. A lot of their pro-Trump talking points look bad because they're now associated with these Russians. And I've been listening to the media talk about this story. And what are they saying? They're saying these are pro-Trump MAGA Republicans who are now associated with the Russians, paid to express Russian talking points. So now they're saying that a lot of the ideas that they were expressing in their shows are Russian talking points. That's the narrative now, right? So this seems to me like what's going on. That seems to me to be what's going on. I've said
I've believed that from the beginning. Like it's a total setup. Has nothing to do with. I don't think it has anything to do with Russians. It's a total setup, just to use these points, just to use what you just said. I agree, 100%. By the way, I'm
speculation.
I'm on the side of I'm on the side with Tucker. Like I don't think the Russians are bad guys in this. So Russia, if you want to send me $10 million, go right ahead.
I do think the Russians are well, not the Russians, but I think Putin should not have invaded. I think that this war was not necessary and could have been avoided. I think it was I blame Biden for the most part. I mean, obviously I blame Putin, but Biden could have avoided this whole thing. Trump makes a good point all the time. He's like, I know what Putin was thinking. I could have negotiated with him. The war never would have happened. Biden effed it up. Biden didn't know what he was
agree. Doing. If Trump was president, this war wouldn't have happened, and that's what I've wished for. I wish this war wouldn't happen. Too many people are dying and being murdered and killed. But when you have a system like NATO encroaching onto your country, the borders of your country, what else is there to do? I mean, we wouldn't allow it. Why should they? It's a deeper subject. So
that's a dumb take. I don't think NATO was going to invade Russia.
I didn't say that. They're
but you were saying they're encroaching.
Yeah, they want to bring Ukraine into NATO.
Right. But
they want to bring Poland, all these other countries into NATO.
But what's the problem with that? If they're not going to actually invade Russia,
who's on their border? There was an agreement.
They're not violating. But there was agreement.
There was an agreement that they wouldn't do that.
But they're not violating the sovereignty of Russia. But they're not violating the sovereignty of Russia.
There was an agreement.
Not violating the sovereignty of Russia. So it's not acceptable to go kill a bunch of people because
when somebody doesn't agree with Chris's point of view, it's he belittles them. That's his tactic.
Because I made a statement, and you didn't respond, so I repeated it. That's all I'm saying.
I said it.
You can't just.
I said it. You're okay. So if Russia wants to go into Cuba, what did we do when Russia was going into Cuba? We almost had a nuclear war, right?
But we didn't have a war
because Russia left, right?
But we didn't invade Cuba.
Let's say Russia decides to go into Mexico now. Bring military. Bring this. Say, hey, we're gonna make a national defense thing to keep America in check. You know, what do you think the United States would do?
You think we're going to invade these countries and take them over?
What?
It's
the point.
I don't think you understand that. I don't think you understand the metaphor you're creating.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, okay. So you're suggesting that America would invade those countries and take them over, and try to take them territorially.
They would not allow it. They would try to not.
That's
allow
totally
that to
different.
Okay?
That's a very different thing than invading the countries. Trying to fight against that, or trying to
you have Ukraine bombing certain Russian. You have. Forget. I'm not even going to go into it. You don't even want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm fine to hear it, but I don't think you understand your own metaphor. You're creating a metaphor.
There was an agreement signed. There was an agreement signed that NATO would not go further than a certain area, and they went against that agreement. Okay, that's not right. You make an agreement between nations.
It's irrelevant. You still don't look. You don't kill thousands of people because somebody disagrees with you. You know, somebody violated some agreement that you had. That I don't think there was no contractual agreement. There was no treaty that said this. I don't believe.
Minsk Accord. I think it's called the Minsk Accord.
The something
Minsk Accord.
Yeah, but you still wouldn't. I think it's you don't murder thousands of people because somebody broke some kind of an agreement that you had, and we didn't break the agreement. By the way, we did not actually add Ukraine to NATO, but. Whatever Biden.
We didn't because what happened? We didn't because
you don't
what happened.
know what would have happened. You don't know what would have happened though. We didn't get that far, right? All right. Hold on. We're gonna go back into the news here. All right. Harris Waltz co-chair ABC interrupted Trump more because they didn't fact check more normal falsehoods. I don't understand that headline. Harris Waltz co-chair ABC interrupted Trump more because they didn't fact check more normal falsehoods. The hell does that mean? I don't know what that means. Let's go ahead and should we play this?
Hopefully it's not long.
I know. Sometimes you send me this is 7 minutes. Yeah, it's a little
yeah, screw it. I send it for the article. Really, it's not to listen.
All right, let me.
I just thought.
I'm sorry, Senator. You're right now. I thought a commercial was coming. You know, Senator, you get to be my age, and you just check to see that. You still have a
okay, this expand window is working for some reason.
Obviously, yeah, you're a candidate. She obviously still has a pulse. She did her homework. You know, a lot of conservatives saying it was a stacked deck with the moderators. I always find that to be kind of a silly argument. It is what it is. I get it. But what did you make of that? And Donald Trump saying, that it was 3 against 1.
Well, Neil, look, when your team doesn't have a good game, you yell about the refs making bad calls. Clearly, Donald Trump did not have a good game. He came across as angry and sullen, backwards looking, filled with grievance. And from the very first answer, Vice President Harris focused on her positive agenda. I'll remind you that she specifically talked about small business and job creation, trying to expand the tax cut and get back to talking to the American people. Moderators are working the refs.
High, it's not as high.
Could have been interrupted about migrants eating cats.
Absolutely. But
there you go.
No interruptions when there were some whoppers coming out of Kamala Harris on his alleged support for Project 2025.
This is the part
He's constantly disavowed that, or his views on in vitro fertilization. In fact, he wants the federal government to pay for that sort of thing for couples, and that there are no American troops in a combat zone overseas, when, as you know, they're on the precipice of that no matter where they are. So that there was a sort of more allowance to let her get through and say stuff than Donald Trump. So what do you make of that?
Well, what I make of that is that he was saying things that were not just misrepresentations of fact, but whoppers. The particular one you just raised, the allegation he made that there is a town, I think it's Springfield, Ohio, where there's a record number of immigrants killing people's pets and eating them. It was at moments like that that the moderators interrupted to say, that's been disproven. There's no evidence at all for that. And frankly, Neil, I think this is part of your role.
Right,
the
Senator?
press on the next day is, I think the next day, part of what we're doing in the after debate discussion is fact checking some of the things that are more normal, more standard about, did inflation grow by this much under your presidency or yours? Who grew more manufacturing jobs? She, for example, made the point that while President Trump was president, there was a net job loss, that only Herbert Hoover and Donald Trump had a net loss of Americans working, and that under the Biden-Harris administration, there's been close to 18 million jobs created. He debated that, said, no, this was all post-pandemic bounce-back jobs. That's the sort of thing we could debate factually.
Well, right, and absolutely, he could have talked about, and Donald Trump could have talked a lot.
This is such crazy spin. It's interesting that you posted this story, because it's great to see how the Democrats spin this crap, because of course he's going to say that Donald Trump lied. But none of the stuff that Donald Trump said was a lie. In fact, there's nothing that I saw in there that I immediately was like, oh yeah, that's Trump's wrong about that or something like that. And I've done a full fact check of, like, literally a full detailed fact check of the first debate. The only reason you guys have never seen that is because, Joe Biden dropped out. But I spent like a week. I spent like a week going through in very fine detail, even though we knew Joe Biden would probably drop out. But I wanted to make this video because everybody had said something. It was something like Donald Trump lied 50 times in the debate, they said. 50 times, 50. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to check every single fact check on Trump. I'm going to check them all. I'm going to see what they really are. And you know what I found? I found that Trump said things that I believe he knew were not true. I think something like twice in the whole debate. And then I went through and I checked the things that I know for certain that Joe Biden knew weren't true. And I didn't even go through everything that he said. I just went through the ones that other people had sort of like presented as, fact checked already. And it was like, there was like, I don't know, 20 or something. I don't remember. It was like 10 or 20. Already I saw like everything that Biden said that was a lie. It seemed like he did that on purpose. Like he knew it was a lie and he said it on purpose. There was a couple things that I thought, okay, Trump probably knows this is not true, but he's saying it because it's like convenient for him or benefits him in some way. But for the vast majority of things that Trump said that were fact checked, either he was probably made like a slight mistake or something like that, or he was misinformed on the subject a little bit, or it was like hyperbole, or he's making a joke or something like that, or there was a difference of opinion. That was often the case, what was going on. But in this case, in this debate, there was nothing that I heard that I thought that's definitely not true. I was just listening to it like, I think Trump believes everything he's saying, and I think the vast majority of things he's saying are actually accurate. The cat and dog eating thing, I mean, that's a debatable subject because it was such fresh news, right? Like nobody knew for sure if that was true. The moderators jumped in and were like, that is provably false. Well, they said the same thing about a lot of stuff. Like they always say like, oh, there was no election fraud. That's been it's a debunked conspiracy theory. Well, they always call everything a debunked conspiracy theory, don't they? But this guy goes this extra step and he says like, well, they wanted to fact check in real time the whoppers, and then the next day you fact check the normal stuff, right? And when he says normal stuff, what he's trying to suggest is that Kamala Harris never said anything that was intentionally deceptive or obviously untrue, but rather she said things that were maybe a mistake, or she got like a number off slightly in her data or something, and that could be fact checked later. But that's not true. That's literally the opposite of the truth. The truth is that they should have fact-checked Trump after the fact because everything Trump said was maybe debatable, but was essentially either accurate or reasonable to make a mistake or something like that. Let's say he got the immigration numbers slightly off or something. Because like it's hard to know how many illegal immigrants have actually come into America. So that's a number that can be debated. That's something that would be normally fact-checked afterwards, not something you would debate. You would jump on during the debate to have to jump in because it's an emergency. He said something that was so obviously false. But Kamala did say a lot of things that were obviously false, things that people know are not true, things that have been totally debunked. The fine people on both sides hoax. Uh-huh. That's something they could have very easily
2025. I can name a few. 2025 was a fake
you can list them off the top of your head. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like Trump should have been on his game there with that. Like when she mentioned the 2025, he should have just been like, that's been debunked by what's that website? You know, even your own people have debunked it.
Snopes,
yeah,
the left wing Snopes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. All right, Steel Fang jumps in with $20. He says, speaking of Russian influence, YouTuber Mr. Reagan is being paid by a Russian agent known as Curtis E. Oh, Curtis E, are you a Russian agent? That's hilarious.
He has the cat to go with the evil, like have the cat on you. Like, yes.
That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, $2 says, well, hello, motherfuckers. You got to do it in the the voice of that guy from The Hangover, right? That's how you got to say that.
Yeah. Somebody wrote he did refute the 20. What he said pissed me off. What Trump was saying was pissed me off. Like, I have nothing to do with that. I don't agree with it. Like, he shouldn't even get into it with that. Like, he should just say, plain and simply, it's been debunked by your people, Snopes. That's it. End. That's it.
Well, the Snopes thing was another. The Snopes thing was the fine people on both sides. But no, I think he did okay actually on the 2025 thing. He did really address. I think that needed to be addressed in that detail. Like, you don't think so because you know the truth and I know the truth, but most Democrats don't know the truth. So I think Trump, it was time well spent actually. That was one of the few, I think, reactions that I think were totally warranted.
I don't know. I didn't like it. It's too much trying to defend himself, and he needs to go on the offense.
Well, you're talking about something that is, you know, once you add up all the moments that he did that, it becomes too much. But if he picked his moments, like if he just did that with 2025 and then ignored some of the other stuff, probably would have been a lot better. But I think the 2025 thing was warranted. All right, Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company says, I created more jobs during the Biden administration than Kamala Harris. Facts.
Yep.
Concrete is a great business. My brother used to pour concrete after college. I think it was his first job because he has a degree in construction management, which is a kind of an unusual degree, but they offer it, I think, at Oregon State University, which is where my brother went to school. And so we got this degree in, but he ended up taking over the family company. We have a business creating plastic extrusion called Polyform in Salem, Oregon. If you have any plastic extrusion, let me know. But anyway, so my brother took over that company eventually, so he didn't have to worry about using his degree. But for a while, he worked in as pouring concrete, and then he did end up working in the field that he had a degree in, construction management for a while, and then he moved on to take over my family's company. But yeah,
and also to go on that point, my life was so much better when Trump was president.
You know, everybody was making a lot more money when Trump was president. I was making a lot more money, I can tell you that.
You sounded like Trump there. A lot more money. A
lot more. Yeah. Yeah, he's I've been watching too much Trump lately, I think.
Yeah. You know, somebody brought a good point. I don't know why this came up to me, but somebody brought a good point that I read. Like, I think the assassination did have a bigger effect on Trump than we actually realize. Because I think in that debate, it kind of I don't know.
No, the assassination attempt had nothing to do with the debate. What the heck are you talking about?
I don't know. He seems like I don't know.
You're like the climate change people who go, oh, something interesting happened with these sea lions in the Arctic. I think it must be climate change. You can't say everything that Trump does is now derived from the assassination attempt. I actually think,
but think about it. How don't you think that would like have an effect on you? I don't know. Maybe he's a
but I mentioned this in the live stream to you before, right? Because he was the same way in the Biden debate, but it worked well for him because Biden just destroyed himself, right? But what happened in 2020 is that there was one debate that Trump is I would say universally believed to have lost this debate because Trump went really hard on Biden, and Biden just sort of maintained this sort of like calm demeanor.
True.
And it went a little crazy. It was like a little crazy, and I don't necessarily think he like lost that debate on substance, but he definitely lost that debate on character because he was like too crazy. And I think once that happened, I think that actually was what rattled him in terms of like speaking off the cuff in debates and stuff like that. So now he was like very measured during the first Biden debate, and Biden destroyed himself. And then he came in very measured during the Kamala debate.
Kamala actually destroyed herself. Again.
No, she didn't destroy herself. She didn't destroy herself. She can't see. The thing is, because Kamala was being held to such a low standard, all she had to do was survive, and deflect and not talk about the issues. And that's what she was able to do. And Trump kind of let her get away with it, which that was, I think, the real big mistake.
By the way, folks, tonight I realize, according to Chris, I'm dumb and I'm a climate change crazy person.
Accurate.
Thank you, Chris.
But it's all right because we look so similar.
I'm more of a leftist crazy loon than I thought I was. Wow.
Well, but because since I've got the haircut and I've actually got a little bit of stubble now, so we do look kind of the same. People may just make a mistake and think that I'm you and you're me. So I might be the idiot here. Who knows? You never know. All right. So let's just jump in with this Meghan McCain tweet. She says, these are elite Manhattan debate questions. The American people are suffering and can't pay for groceries and deserve answers. How it will get better. I don't know what the hell this is. These moderators, okay, I don't know what the hell this is, but these moderators are doing the American people a grave disservice. Wow. So even Meghan McCain was upset. That's amazing.
Post the other one.
I didn't see that.
The other one's good too that she posted.
All right, hold on. Who's the other one?
No, her.
Another one. Yeah. It's another Meghan McCain. All right. She says, I've been telling you guys for years how much ABC hates Republicans. This is really weird because Meghan McCain absolutely hates Donald Trump. Like she hates Donald Trump. And she's
she still does. She still does.
And Guy Benson is a pro-Trump guy for sure. He's written, he's gay, but he's a pro-Trump guy. It says ABC is doing a pretty aggressive job following up when Trump avoids a direct answer. We have not seen that when Harris has done the same repeatedly. Yeah, I mean, that was very obvious during the debate. We all tweeted about the moderators. But for Meghan McCain to talk about that, the only thing I can think of the reason Meghan McCain would write that is because she doesn't want the American people to see the obvious bias of the moderators.
Yeah.
And I understand that kind of like, I think there was another leftist that was kind of complaining about this sort of thing. Like, because I was actually quite shocked myself because I'm like I talk about this with you sometimes about how leftists, like they usually hide their corruption. And when they don't hide their corruption, I feel like, the American people don't trust them anymore. And so they've got to be very careful that they hide their corruption, and it just doesn't seem like they care to do that anymore. They just seem like they're willing to openly show off that they hate Trump and that they're in the bag for Kamala and all this kind of thing. And I don't think this is helpful to Democrats. If they're obvious enough, people aren't going to trust them anymore. So you got to be careful. And so I can kind of understand where Meghan McCain is coming from, even if she's not like on board with Trump, she hates Trump, whatever. I can kind of see why she's upset still, about it. But I don't know. It's weird to me to see her kind of, in a way, slightly defending Donald Trump. That's weird to me. Like I'm kind of like what the young people call shook. I'm a little shook.
She knows the optics of what happened.
Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company has jumped in, and he writes, most people that we hire quit before lunch. Yeah. Pouring concrete is not easy. It's not an easy job. That is for sure. That's funny stuff, man. I would quit before lunch too, if I'm honest. I can't do that stuff. That is tough work. Yeah, that's real man work, actually. That's good. That's good stuff. All right, let's present the next thing. This is a Vigilant Fox. He says, wow, this independent voter completely tore Kamala Harris apart. This is brilliant. She was hoping Kamala would actually give her some answers, but Kamala left her with more doubts and concerns. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, how the American people, the independent voters, the swing voters, they're pretty savvy. Let's go ahead and watch this. This is a Dr. Phil one, huh? post-debate town hall. I didn't even know Dr. Phil did this.
I really, really wanted Vice President Harris to hit it out of the park. I don't think she did. I think she did better than some people expected her to. The cackle was not there. I kept waiting for it, and it didn't come. But I still didn't get answers. I didn't get answers to fundamental questions that we need to know as voters. And we just keep getting circled around that.
Like what? What did you not get an answer to?
Her economic plans. What is an opportunity economy? Yep. What does that mean? Who's paying for the tax cuts that she's proposing? Because in my opinion, giving people down payment assistance on houses just drives inflation up higher. Who's paying for all of these child tax credits? That's just the taxpayers coming out of pocket and hurting the middle class again. So I don't think that we got to the meat and potatoes of the things that really matter. And we know from Donald Trump's presidency before, he can fix the economy. So I was really looking for her to make an impact on my thought process tonight, and she didn't deliver that.
I'll be honest. I don't think she's a swing voter. I don't think she's an independent voter. I think she's a Trump supporter pretending to be an independent voter. So I don't think that
she was on point.
To me,
she was on point, though.
Yeah, of course she was on point because she's not an idiot. You know, she's obviously supports Trump. You know, but there's I don't like that. I don't like when people pretend that they're undecided when they're actually decided, because then you don't really get, at least from like in terms of like what I do for a job, I need to really know what the undecided voters are thinking. So I don't like it when they do that. They do that on the left all the time, where they'll bring in a clearly like a Kamala supporter and they'll be like, so you're an undecided? They're like, yeah, when I came in, I was undecided, but now I'm really thinking of voting for Kamala now. I think I'm totally on board with it because she did such a good job. I'm like, no, yeah, you were voting for Kamala 6 months ago before she was even the nominee. Like you were in the bag before she was conceived. You were ready to go for Kamala Harris because you're like a total lefty. But I don't usually see that on the right. But in this case, I think this woman was definitely already a Trump supporter. Clearly, she's too on point. There's no, if you're undecided, you don't have that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. No, I'm 100% convinced of that woman.
Well, I think some undecided people or people in the middle, I think they're kind of smart, so it's a possibility.
No, they are, but not that smart. I mean, that woman was so on point. I don't think she could possibly be anything but a Trump supporter.
To at this point, if you're still thinking about maybe I'll vote for Kamala, then yeah, you're pretty dumb.
Exactly. All right, let's have a look at this. This is quite a profound video. This went viral like about a week ago, but I happen to know the guy. His name's Alex. He runs Green Room Management in Los Angeles, and he's the manager of these guys. He manages these guys. There are a couple of actors, writers, documentarians out there in LA, and he asked me to repost this because this is an example of a few people in Hollywood that actually are trying to make a difference. So these guys go around and they stop scammers, and that's kind of what they do, and they like expose these guys. It's Art Kulik and Ashton Bingham of Trilogy Media. So I would suggest everybody, if you're on X, follow these guys, follow these accounts, because these guys are going to be producing some amazing content coming up. But this one is unbelievable if you haven't seen it.
We'll grab this information and see what we can do, but like I said,
can you please collect the information? He said that he's already illegal. He already said that he went to...
Okay, hold on, let's back up a little bit. First off, we're a sanctuary city. Even if he is legal here, we cannot call ICE.
Okay, but you still have to report that, right?
No, we don't, because it's a sanctuary city. We do not report illegal undocumented.
So you're going to let a person who went to prison, he committed a crime in America, who's illegal right now, you're going to let him go free right now to this elevator?
That's exactly what I'm saying, because we're a sanctuary city. I've arrested a double homicide suspect in this city before and let him walk out the door because we're a sanctuary city. We're not going to call ICE to come pick him up and deport him.
He came to pick up $320,000 from him or mine grandmother and grandfather, and he's walking away freely right now, right? That's what I'm understanding right now.
I understand that, but you're asking me to call ICE or the...
I'm not asking you to call ICE. We're just asking you to take seriously that he's trying to repeat offend when he's already illegal.
He flew
repeating
from
what
New
he's
York.
already been doing.
He said, I'm in Chinatown in New York. They pay for his...
Yeah. So basically, this cop, he's not only saying we're not going to call ICE to deport somebody because they're an illegal alien. We're also not going to arrest somebody who's committed a crime because they're an illegal alien. Like, there are some police officers. I don't know if this guy doesn't know what he's doing or what the hell's going on here. But apparently there are some places in which they won't even arrest you if you're an illegal alien. You can do whatever you want, according to this police officer.
He looks over at his partner and he says, "Hey, are we the baddies?"
yeah. Are we the baddies? Well, we got the skulls on our caps. Yeah, that's yeah, I don't know what's going on. That's crazy. But those guys deserve a lot more love.
I'm sick of this stuff. I have no respect for it. Like, people, man, if you don't hate this and you don't hate this mind virus that's going on here in Europe and here in the United States, man, I don't know what to tell you. I hate this, man. I hate this stuff, and
it's disgusting. It's disgusting. What we should not be allowing people to commit crimes in America. These are con artists, right? Criminals are coming here. You know, they got the Venezuelan gangs that are taking over those apartment buildings.
That's what I say. That's why I say they deserve what they get. You deserve what you vote for. You voted for somebody to put a sanctuary city. You're voting for people to put police officers like this and to tell them things like this. You get what you deserve. And I hope it gets worse.
A lot of like Black Americans in poor areas like vote Democrat every single election without question. And it's like, yeah, that's why you have the Venezuelan gangs coming in, is because you voted for Democrats.
Yeah.
If Black people want Venezuelan gangs taking over the neighborhood, keep voting for Kamala Harris. Keep voting for Democrats. Anyway, follow this guy, Art Kulik.
Yeah.
Follow Ashton Bingham. Follow Trilogy Media. Follow these 3 accounts because these guys are great. I think they're going to be putting out some really great things in the future. So I would highly recommend everybody following them.
People are writing their oath breakers. They broke their oath. They have one oath, these people. They have one oath, and that's to their paycheck as far as the officers go. And the other people are telling them to do this, have an oath to their party and to their power. So none of that.
No, but in terms of police officers, you do want honorable men to work for the police. And this guy needs to be fired because this guy is not an honorable person.
Yeah, but they're not going to fire him. They're going to promote him probably.
Yeah.
It just needs to get worse.
City.
It needs to get worse.
Sanctuary City. I don't know how it can get worse.
Oh,
I don't know how it can get worse. We're living in Mad Max times, ladies and gentlemen.
When all your pets are extinct.
Snowball. Okay, so all right, let's see. What have they done to you? All right, let's see here. Okay, this is another tweet from a guy I've never heard of called Rafael Soto, J. Rafael Soto. Some of the Haitians are eating the cats and the dirty-ass ducks from the local parks. I don't know if they're dirty. A wild duck, I think, is fine, right? Also killing dogs. I don't know about the birds. I don't know. Criticizing them for killing the birds is such a big deal. But the dogs and cats, that's weird. They are destroying Springfield, Ohio, thanks to the open border. For some reason, I kept thinking it was Springfield, Illinois, but I guess it's Springfield, Ohio. Should I watch this? Is this violent? Can I play this? I don't always trust you.
Oh, man.
I'll go and play. We'll see.
Now that you tell me that.
Stand up. Someone got rubber gloves. She's covered in blood. She destroyed that cat.
Get ready to hit the pause.
Just in case.
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. I see a group of Haitian people.
Okay, hold on. I got to do this one more time because it's too appropriate at this point. It's too appropriate. All right, you ready?
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat.
No, I don't want that guy.
Eating the dogs.
Exactly.
Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're.
I love that chick. I don't know who she is, but she's fantastic. Probably the best thing we've ever had on this show is that video of that girl dancing. All right. Tiff has jumped in with $2. She says illegal immigration is for the birds. The birds and the cats and the dogs.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching. Do you have any closing arguments there, my friend?
Lock up your cats, lock up your pets, lock up your dogs, keep them safe. It's a free for all out there, people. Vote Trump 2024.
Trump 2024. Save the cat.
Because let me tell you, if Kamala wins, it's gonna get so bad that we all might have to eat our pets and dogs. And cats.
I know. Oh, and by the way, if you have not seen my latest parody video, please watch that. I don't know why nobody has seen that. It just kind of died. I think it was bad timing. I posted it right before the debate, thinking that I would get some debate momentum, some hype from the debate. Everybody would watch it. But what happened was there was this, I think I mentioned this earlier in the show, there was this massive influx of people watching it. And then as soon as the debate happened, plummeted to nothing. So I don't know. I'm not, it's terrible. So hopefully people are going to watch it. Oh, we got one more super chat here from Steel Fang. He says, if a law enforcer enforces tyrannical law, they have forfeited their duty. It is up to you and I to protect.
Yes.
I cannot agree more with you, Steel Fang. I absolutely love that sentiment. It is absolutely true. We need to protect our own families. We need to protect our own people.
Great way to end the show.
Great way to end the show. Trump 2024. Buy our merch. Go to my Teespring site. It's in the description below. Show us a little bit of love. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just they know so much. That is not
They're
so.
eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
The song. The anthem.
They're eating the cats. Eat the cat.